talk to you guys. Welcome back guys to the channel. So far it's been a great day. I started off the morning with a farmer's market, then I watched some soccer, and now I'm recording for you guys, and it just feels great. And today's video we are going over on how to use the sewing machine. I've always made tutorials showing you guys how to make different DIY projects, but I've never gone over how to use the sewing machine. So I'm going to show you right now on how to figure out how to use this baby. Here, this is our pedal, so we're going to connect the pedal here, connect it to the plug, and this is going to give it the energy that it needs. Once we have it connected, we are going to insert the bobbin. And the way you thread your bobbin, so mine's designed this way. I thread it around like this, hold the thread, and then just press down. The more you press down, the faster it's gonna go, and the lighter you press, the slower it's gonna go. So once you have your bobbin threaded, push this hole back, clip it off, and then we're gonna insert it in here. So in this part, you're going to take the bobbin, insert it right inside this piece, and place it back. So this is a home machine, but if you have an industrial machine, your bobbin case will look different. So a home sewing machine bobbin case looks like this, and an industrial machine bobbin case looks that way. Let me go over the different parts to the sewing machine. So here, this is the tension. The higher it is more for fabrics like denim, for heavy fabrics. And then if you have a light fabric, let's say like silk or chiffon, you want to go light with your tension because it is a lightweight fabric. This is the stitches. So the higher the number, the wider the stitch. The smaller the number, the tighter and smaller it is. And if you ever go really small with your stitches, make sure you are aware of that, because if you make a mistake and then you have to seam rip all those small stitches, it takes forever and you don't want to do that. So what I like to do, I like to create a base stitch, which is like the highest. You could do a base stitch hand sewing. You could also do a base stitch with the bigger stitch. It's up to you. Just do a base stitch, and then if you're certain that that's where the stitch has to go, then go as small as you need to. Then here you have zigzags, you have this double, these are more for buttons, if you have buttons. A lot depends on your machine and what type of machine you have. So the one that I have is the Singer Prelude. It was given to me, this guidance counselor secretary, she gave me this sewing machine, and thanks to her I've been able to sew and work on my sewing skills and sewing projects, so I'm really thankful. If you ever want to buy a sewing machine, there's Joann's, there's Walmart, there's many different locations where you can buy a sewing machine, and it's pretty much up to what kind of projects that you're doing, and that will determine what type of sewing machine. But this one's very simple and basic, and it gives you pretty much all that you need, and it depends on what you're working on. Alright, so the way we thread our machine, by the way, so to turn it on, I click here. I see the light bulb turn on, and I know that it's on, it's working, it's moving, getting things rolling. So the way I thread it, look here in my sewing machine, it shows me steps. There's steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not all machines are like this. Not all of them have the 1, 2, 3 to remind you on how to thread it, but that's okay because a lot of machines get threaded the same way. What's different is your industrial machine. It's different with an industrial machine, but if you have a home sewing machine, this is how you thread it. So I insert it in here first, then I bring it over here, then I move this here and bring it up. I'm holding this part, thread it inside, bring it down, then I insert it inside my needle, and I bring the tail underneath this. And now, if you remember, I inserted the bobbin inside. So what I do now is that I bring my needle down, so this grabs the thread from the bobbin underneath and it lifts it up. Then with a scissor, It can be a scissor, it could be a pen, pretty much just anything that you can move the thread up like this, and there you have the two tails. So now we can begin sewing. I bring the needle down, and this is a tip. Not everyone does this, but I find it so helpful that before I press down to begin sewing, I bring the needle down to the fabric so I know it's aligned to the lines here. And as you can see, my machine doesn't tell me the specific measurements, so I had to write it down, but yours might do, and this lets you know the seam allowance that you're taking in. Normally a back stitch is very strong, so you don't need it to be very long. So with 2 stitches, 2 to 3 is perfect, and then you can continue going straight. Mine is placed here. Let me show you how to change your foot. So the way you change your foot is, you see this right here, you just press it down and boop, it releases the foot, and then you press it back up. And there easily you can change your foot depending on what you need the foot. When it comes to your sewing machine, you can use different foots. There's so many. There's an edge joining foot, a pin tuck snap on, blind hem foot. There's just so many, and I have a lot of them. So if you want me to make a specific tutorial just going over the different foots and how to use them, just write down below in the comments if you're interested, and we'll like a video dedicated to going over on how to use each and one of these sewing foots. In my blog post, I have a chart that shows all the different foots as well as the type of sewing needles that you need based on your fabric, because the type of fabric that you have will determine what type of sewing machine needle you need. And the way you change your sewing machine needle is that you turn it right here, just turn it around and it releases the needle. Make sure it's facing you this way. You see this rough part right here? That's what moves the fabric. These are the feet. And then once I'm done sewing, you can have a scissor, but the sewing machine has there for you, so then just like take it off. Another great tip that I want to tell you is that you have to make sure to clean it on the inside, because as you sew over time, it'll start to get dust on the inside. So you'll have to clean it or even add oil underneath. You'll see it. It'll start to get knotted and very webby. That's either because the bobbin is not inserted right, or because it needs to be oiled on the inside. And that's pretty much it. This is pretty much the basics of what you need to do to get started using your sewing machine. This is heavy. Click down below on my blog post. There I have created a blog post dedicated to how to use a sewing machine, as well as included a free PDF that you can have so you can see the anatomy of the sewing machine and know what each and one of the pieces in your sewing machine are called. That's the end of the video. I hope that this demonstration on how to use your sewing machine helps you out and makes it much more easier for you to get your sewing machine up and running and get those first stitches in your next project. I'll see you next weekend. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for the support, guys. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at kaaramary, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to click on the light bell icon so you can get notified as to when I upload new videos.